Good morning. This is Bobby Dupre with the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And of course, it replays in its entirety on basically the cable services, but not 9 parishes. And of course, many of you watch it on your internet device, whatever that might be, computer, iPhone, cell phone, whatever. And of course, I have able assistant sitting next to me right here, my sidekick, Mr. Matt LeBlanc, who is, by the way, a full-time employee of Delta Media. I don't have to pay him anything for this. He's already been paid one time.
That's right.
And of course, Dylan Guillory, our recent graduate of UL, I might add, which is, he was very complimentary about being able to get a job right here at home. A lot of recent graduates that he knows personally having some difficulties.
Right.
And that's true across the whole United States. It's nothing to do with Lafayette and the down time that we presently have in the oil industry. That has some play on that, but there's always some students who graduate and don't find a job like they're looking for.
Or necessarily in their field.
That's what I was getting ready to say, necessarily. They just need a job.
That's right.
And he found a good job with Delta Media, and he happened to look up and get the assignment of taping the Bobby Dupre Show. And he was saying that he feels that he's got more experiences working with you than probably almost any student that graduated in comparable subjects at UL this past year. And made me feel good because I graduated from there. It was SLI when I graduated.
USL for me.
Yep, and then UL here. So we got a little
three generations.
3 generations, that's right. We didn't have a phone at home, much less a cell phone.
Well, you know what? The history repeats itself. We don't have a phone at home anymore. Most people don't. They went to their cell phone.
I paid for mine, and it didn't even work. I paid for it for maybe a year and a half.
Mine too, same thing.
It wouldn't even work.
Wasn't working.
And I would forget, and I had it on a direct bill, so it just paid itself, just like that, and yet, when you have some little problems, like you can't find your cell phone around the house, it's almost worth that $24 I was paying.
Yeah.
It's so aggravating. But anyhow, I usually find that it just takes me a while. Well, let's get back to the program. But it's life, and this is really what we talk about here on the program. And
we're going to get you an Apple Watch. That's what we need to get you, something that just stays attached to your wrist. You can't lose it that way.
Oh, you mean the one that's the phone?
Yeah, the iPhone watch.
Not that one that when you work out. There's another one that it looks just like. They look very similar.
Yeah, not a heart monitor. I'm going to get you an Apple Watch.
Apple Watch. That didn't go over too good, did it?
Yeah, they're a little pricey. That's the only thing. I want one really bad. I'd love to have one, but they are a little pricey. And with the cell phone plans, what you can do is your phone's pricey too. Don't
this thing here.
Yeah, that's $600-700, but they give it to you on a discount because you signing up with a cell phone service. And the Apple Watch, it's tied into your phone. There's no cell phone service for it, so you can't get discounts on them. That's why it's a little harder for it to buy.
Now, wait, come back with you went too fast. I'm a slow learner. They accused me of a lot of things, but one thing they never accused me of was being smart.
Well, when you get your phone...
Just remember that when you're talking to me. Don't embarrass me with all of our fans out here.
Well, when you get your phone, they get you on a contract. You're with them for 2 years, so they figure, well, they can give you a good discount on this phone because they're going to have you for 2 years, and you can't get out of it. Well, they can't do that with the watch because there's no cell phone contract for that. It's just tied into your phone, so nobody's there to give you a discount.
But it works like the phone.
Oh, it works like the phone, right? But it relies on your phone.
I see. I see. So you still have to have a phone.
I guess it would work without it, but it wouldn't do any of the nice features that it does.
Well, you have to carry the phone with you?
Yep. The phone has to be within radius of it.
Kind of like that little fob on the automobile? It's got to be somewhere around the car?
Push button start on your car, but if you don't have your key on you, it won't start. My wife hates that, by the way. I got a push-button start on my car, and she hates it because she never knows if she has her keys or not.
I'm not going in that subject at all. But on the serious side, we've had some good weather up until this morning, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
it started yesterday afternoon.
Ugly today.
Yeah. Today
it was gray yesterday and the day before, but it rained today.
Yep. And today is only Tuesday, by the way. We usually tell you that we taping on Wednesday. As a general rule, we tape like this one time for sure, and that's because of the Santa breakfast that takes place on Wednesday.
Right.
Every year, the first Wednesday in December. And this year it happens to be December the 2nd, tomorrow.
That's right.
And so we tape on Tuesday for the Thursday program. So it works out okay.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to take any time from the event tomorrow. The event tomorrow is very important, and that's you'll see on your screen, Breakfast with Santa. If you want some more information, call 948-5058. It benefits the Opelousas St. Landry Cerebral Palsy Clinic. And it's a great event. We just don't want to take any time from it tomorrow, so we moved the taping to today.
Yep, and we got a report from Andrew and Belinda, by the way. Belinda, since Andrew has taken a job elsewhere, but still very involved in this particular event. And he and Belinda tell me that we are ahead just a little bit. That's kind of hard to figure, because maybe some of you heavy hitters, and you say, well, it's only $25. Well, we have a few people that send 1,000, 1,500, up to 5,000.
Right.
And yours truly puts up the first 5,000 to get the thing started. And then, of course, if we can get to 50 like you have the last, I think it was 3 years, then I put up another 5,000, and that's the 5 I like to put up, because then I know we've done well. We're sending some very important dollars to the Opelousas area Cerebral Palsy Clinic. Every dollar that you give to this Santa breakfast goes directly to the clinic. We don't take a cut of 5%, 10%, pay for the postage, pay for printing, pay for the food, pay for the rental of the place. All of that is all free.
Right.
And you know,
and that goes to pay for treatments, actual treatments for the kids.
Actual treatments for the kids. And it's amazing. You're going to see a few of the kids today. And
well, you know what? While we're talking about this, we could probably show what you did this morning, huh?
Yeah, I'm Santa on the Tuesday before the Wednesday. And I'm making my rounds, and we have a little envelope with a few dollars in each one.
Yeah, it's really special because you get to visit with all the kids. You know, we get to visit with the kids the day before, and actually get to meet them, because a lot of them won't be able to make it to the Santa breakfast. Some of them will be there, but the Santa breakfast is about you. It's about serving food for you. You buying a plate of food and your donation going to the Cerebral Palsy Clinic. This party here is about the kids getting to meet Santa Claus and getting some gifts from Santa, and you can see their faces. This
little girl's been coming since the first year we did this. And even before that, when I've been Santa, by the way, for about 35 years. And it's just a wonderful day for me. It's the highlight of my year. And those of you that watch my program regularly, you know I have a great year every year. God has been real good to the little boy from Plaisance, Louisiana. And I like to say that, and doesn't hurt anymore. Oh, we even had some girls from students.
OC cheerleaders there.
OC cheerleaders.
Yeah, you took a picture with them.
Took a picture with them.
Santa getting down.
That's right. Now getting up, I have to
that was
admit,
a different story. Huh?
I had a little help.
She was the star of the show this morning.
She stole the show.
She was cutie. But yeah, these kids, folks.
And these young men, they from St. Berkman's High School in Grand Coteau, and that's affiliated with Sacred Heart Academy.
Right.
They're on the same grounds, but one is for the girls and one is for the boys. And it's working out real well.
But we had a great event, and this is just for you to put a face to what your donations are going to, folks. It helps all of these kids.
You can see the different kids. This is Jade. This is Charles Goins, who's the president of the local cerebral palsy clinic, and that's his daughter. So he knows firsthand what it takes to make all of this
He's a long time client of the center, if you will.
Yep. Yeah, because Jade's probably close to 25 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was asking Santa for a new car today.
Yeah, that's Lynn Morrow. She's the director of the clinic.
Mm-hmm. And she does a wonderful job with that.
Oh, yeah, and her mom and them will work. That's Charles right there. Yeah. And didn't have quite as many as we generally have, and it was because of the transportation from the schools. A lot of these kids go to school.
Right.
And get some treatments there, I'm sure. And they try to move the muscles is what it is, trying to get them to be able to you keep the muscles alive. You know, if you just sit here and just do this long enough, you'll have no strength when you're going to want to do this.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to help these young people. It's a muscular disease.
And the folks at the clinic do an absolutely wonderful job.
Really?
Lynn has done an incredible job heading the clinic up and reaching out for these
And
kids.
Susan, the young lady that was
the nurse
walking along with me, she is very, very good.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of patience, and it takes patience, not just being the therapist. How about having these at your house, and you have to tend to them 24/7 because you can't leave them alone or anything. Practically every one of them has to have someone there. And a lot of the people that are with them is grandmas and grandpas, because the mama needs to be out there working.
Right.
And luckily, these families always, God gives them somebody to come in and help. I remember Franny Thibodeau, who was working at Dupre Carrier Gacho, and she came in one day with her little son Dustin, if my memory serves me right, and I could tell she had been crying. It appeared that she had been crying, and I said, "What's wrong, Franny?" And she says, "Well," she says, "I just took Dustin to the doctor. He was probably around 15, 18 months old." And she said, "We noticed there was a little something he wasn't developing quite on time, and he's been diagnosed with cerebral palsy." And they got me to be Santa Claus, and the rest is history. God works funny things, from that little conversation I had. Had I not had that conversation, probably would have never.
Well, I'm glad you did, because
well, it's the highlight of my year. I tell that to people, and I'm sure some of them laugh.
I agree. I look forward to it all year also.
Yeah, it's the same group every year.
See the same faces every year, and they get a little older.
And the people that's going to be there for the breakfast tomorrow, it's going to be the same one.
people.
And generally, they sit, if possible, in the same area where they sat for the last 11 years.
They sure do.
Anyhow, we kind of reminisce and it gets almost teary. But it's for good cause. So if you've never given any before, please consider it. It won't hurt you. In fact, it'll make you feel good. It's a feel good feeling, because every dollar goes. Not many can say that, and we can brag about it if that's what you want to call it. He's up there on TV bragging about it. Well,
this is worth bragging about.
This is not this is what the people are putting up. And what the clinic has a regulation. They don't have a billing system, so you don't have to worry about. And they get. I haven't mentioned that. They don't bill for any. They don't bill Medicaid. They don't bill insurance, and I had even suggested, why don't y'all bill the insurance company portion or Medicaid, because a lot of these kids would qualify for Medicaid. And they said, no, we don't have an accounting system to take care of billing. and the founders wanted it that way. And as long as we can get the Bobby Dupre's to be Santa and the people to give to Santa, as long as that works like that, that's how they want to operate it. So very unusual.
Very noble. Very noble cause. Well, we're going to have to take a break here in just a second, but before we do, I want to tell you about Carl's Thrifty Way in Opelousas on South Union Street. If you're heading south out of Opelousas, you'll run into Carl's Thrifty Way. Visit Carl's Thrifty Way, especially this time of year, for any of your gift shop needs. They have a great gift shop there. A lot of home decor, a lot of those candles that the ladies like. My wife goes there and gets those. I don't know if it's Yankee candles or something else, but they have these candles that smell good. The ladies know what I'm talking about.
And Carl has been one of the sponsors of the program since we went on the television.
Has.
So
Carl, thank him for that.
We appreciate it very, very much, and called for some medicine today. So I'll pick it up when I get back to Opelousas.
And you won't meet a friendlier staff or a staff that's more happy and eager to serve you.
I watch them, and they recognize all their clients. So every customer walks in there, they know their name. They don't have to say,
No, definitely.
Hello,
good
Mr.
service.
Bobby. How you doing?
And you also want to visit St. Landry Homestead in Opelousas. You can visit them online also at stlandryhomestead.com.
You greeted that with a big smile.
That's
and
right.
Hello, and they'll name you. It's still hometown cooking.
Yeah, that's right. Hometown cooking for a bank. These guys, no, they do a great job. They got all the banking needs you could possibly want. You can do it sitting down face to face. You can do it online. You can do it from your cell phone. You can go through the drive-through window. Check them out. Opelousas, Eunice, Port Barre, new location coming soon in Port Barre, and online www.stlandryhomestead.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the second quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning beginning at 7 a.m. And, of course, it replays in its entirety on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. And during 24 hours a day, once the show shows the first time, you can pick it up in the cloud at any time you choose to.
That's right, the cloud. Good for you.
And my sidekick here, Mr. Matt LeBlanc, and Mr. Dillon sitting in the back, in the technical room back there.
In the hog pit back there.
Hog pit. Oh, that's a new one.
We want to tell you also, before we get too far, I want to tell you about Steamboat Warehouse Restaurant in Washington. Steamboat Warehouse Restaurant, if you haven't been, go. That's all I can say. The menu is absolutely amazing. The food is amazing. The people are amazing. The scenery is amazing. It is a beautiful place right nestled on Bayou Catawba, right where the steamboats used to turn around. There's a lot of history in the building, and the food is second to none. Do yourself a favor, go to Steamboat Warehouse, and as Andrew would say, get mama away from the smell of her own kitchen.
There you go.
Yeah. And we want to tell you about Piggly Wiggly on the north side of Opelousas, and also on the south side of Opelousas on Heather Drive. You can go to Cash Saver Groceries. The same people, same management, different stores. Cash Saver is...
different method of doing business.
Different method of doing business. They both have great prices, both have great specials. If you want to see Piggly Wiggly specials, you go online and go to GoToThePig.com. Very easy to remember, GoToThePig.com. You can see all of their weekly specials. Go get what you need there to cook for holiday dinners coming up. Stock your shelves with fresh meat cut daily over at Piggly Wiggly and Cash Savers, folks, in Opelousas. And sister location in Simpsport. Can't forget about that one.
A news article that was first viewed, I guess, on television over the weekend, and in the newspapers, and of course at coffee shops and any other place where two people got together. If you had ever met Mr. Fred Phillips, Frederick is his real name, but everybody called him Fred. Mr. Phillips was 87 years young, and his lovely wife, Miss Bonnie Guillory Phillips, was 83. Youngsters. And what happened there, they, husband and wife, they had gone out to dinner, had gone over to Evangeline Downs, and had a steak dinner. And if I'm not mistaken, they also enjoyed going to the steamboat, because I've met Mr. Fred there before. And he was a very successful contractor, Fred Phillips Construction Company, and out of Ville Platte, Louisiana, where he lived, probably raised right in that same area. And just one of the guys, I had met Mrs. Phillips, but didn't know her like I knew Mr. Fred. If you met Mr. Fred one time, he was just one of these people that you took into your heart and you remembered them, and it was always a hello, and I don't know, it was all positive. He was one of the founders of Citizens Bank. He was a guy that was called upon to do civic duties and always did his share. Just a wonderful person. When I got there yesterday, his daughter-in-law, Gwen,
motorcycle's taking off.
Forgot my motorcycle here. And I lost my thought.
Well, you say his daughter.
Yeah, his daughter-in-law, Gwen, she picked at me. She says, what are you doing here? And I said, well, you know I'd be here. She says, no, I know that. She says, he thought a lot about you and you thought a lot about him. I said, well, it was easy in my case to feel that way about him, and I'm glad to hear that that's why our friendship was like it was. And saw a lot of people there, and I knew there would be a lot of people. I went a little early. I went around 3:30 in the afternoon.
Now, you started to say what happened. Was it a wreck?
Yeah, it was an accident.
Okay.
He had eaten dinner in Opelousas and was on the way home on Highway 167, I think that's the number.
Right.
And he inadvertently pulled out, and it was a head-on crash. And both he and his wife, Miss Bonnie, got killed, died at the scene of the accident. And I don't think the young man that was driving the pickup truck that was involved in it, I don't think he was seriously injured. It said moderate. And when they say moderate, it pretty much means it was not too bad, or not. It didn't appear to be bad at the scene. And anyhow, to the Phillips family and the little grandkids and everybody, I know they're going to take that real hard. Mama and Papa, that doesn't happen often. That's another point I wanted to make. Not often you're going to see they both die at the same time. And a very surprising and very nice couple that we lost all at one time. And I think that's all that I have. See how many years ago my friend 14, just a year ago, Chris Fazer. Chris worked at the insurance department for 40 plus years, and I met him there when I first started going to the insurance department, when I was named to the Insurance Rating Commission. And for whatever reason, he nicknamed me Kingfish. And that's all he ever called me, was Kingfish. And it was a pretty good, he knew the Kingfish, Huey Long.
Yeah.
His daddy was in politics, Chris Fazer Jr., and his daddy had the distinction of something that very few in the United States have the distinction of. He was a state legislator in Mississippi, moved to Louisiana, and became elected state representative from Louisiana. Tells you a lot about the man, his father. And of course Chris was like that. Of course he jockeyed the politics, but he was civil service, so he had to be very careful. But amongst each other, naturally, you can express your views there. You just can't get involved in raising money and things like that. You're encouraged to go vote, of course. But anyhow, a year ago, I lost one of my dear friends. So now I'll have two of them to pray for and try to remember each year. What else we have that we can...
Got a couple of pictures if you want to show them. Let's Vicky cooked you some yams?
Yep, got the yams in. Those are the new Evangeline variety.
Well, that's pretty.
And those come from E&L Produce. That's Mr. Earl Fontenot's two boys, Lonnie and Larry, that operate now. And of course, Mr. Earl died a few months ago. So luckily he had, his two sons were in the business now for a number of years and were actually doing all of the work. But I know they're going to take good care of Miss Earlene, Mr. Earl's wife. She's still living, of course. She was a swallow, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Shorty, little Shorty is her brother.
And we got just a little bit longer, so let's talk about, you're always talking about Jenna. Let's show the folks who she is.
Look how she's growing.
Cute.
Look at her, just a little bundle of joy. She's 5 years old. Look at her. Let me tell you, she's learning how to act in front of that camera. She likes that camera.
Looks like it, huh?
And she's helping her momo.
Some good waffles, right? She's got blueberries on the waffles.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
They dress it all up. And she's spoiled, but I guess you could say in a good way, like most kids are spoiled today.
Seems happy.
Yep, she is happy.
There's Jen. And back to the potatoes, and we'll pull you out there. All right, we've got a couple of more right here. We could talk about this. This one, I was wondering what this was earlier.
Oh, yeah, well, that's Torgill. You can go ahead and talk about Torgill.
We can talk about Torgill, but this picture has nothing to do with Torgill.
No, but the owner of Torgill.
That's the owner of Torgill, Ted Bellard.
Ted Bellard cutting up, they're setting up the Christmas tree is what's going on here.
Oh, okay.
And
I thought he was riding a broom.
He is riding a broom. He's riding a broom, and I guess he's telling them a little story.
Yeah.
He is some character, but when he plays hard. When he works smart.
That's right. That's right.
And he works hard but smart.
That's right.
And has really built up quite a business there and a reputation as a good businessman. And that spreads, and he has spread across the world now because with the internet, your seasonings will sell anywhere you are.
That's right.
And all his cutlery equipment.
Well, the kitchen supplies, you can get any
all
kind of kitchen supplies you need there. And this is not just, your run-of-the-mill kitchen supplies. This is good stuff. This is the stuff the chefs get, the nice cutting boards and the nice knives and all the baking supplies, too. They're real big into baking. There's a lot of baking supplies there. I was talking with Michael Bourgeois. He's a manager over at Target. I was talking with him yesterday, and he said right now is a real busy time of year for him because a lot of these businesses are having their seasonings blended, and they can them over at Target, and they deliver them. And like I said, he was delivering up until very recently. And they take it from the ground to the end.
Yep.
You tell them you want a seasoning, they'll walk you through the whole process, and then you've got a nice seasoning with your own business logo on it that you can send out as Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, whatever. It's just nice to have.
Salespeople use them as a door opener.
Absolutely.
Cold, when you walk in, instead of giving them just a business card, you give them a 6-pack of
And who doesn't
seasoning.
like seasoning?
Everybody uses it.
Exactly it. Exactly it. So Target.
And we didn't take that picture, by the way.
No.
That's a Facebook picture.
No,
that
it's a Facebook. Okay.
Facebook pictures. How I was told.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Anyhow, Ted, behave. Have a good time, buddy.
Well, look, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Welcome back to the third quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick, Matt. And we're going to move right along, but before we do, a couple of our good sponsors who make all of this available free of charge.
We can talk about the LHC Group. That's the Louisiana Healthcare Group. It's all about helping people. Of course, that's their motto. You can visit them online at lhcgroup.com. A couple of locations in the Acadiana area, but they've spread out nationwide. I think they're in 30 cities, 30 states.
30 states, right.
Yeah. A company that was born and raised right here in Acadiana has just grown astronomically, and it's because it's run very well, and it's because they offer a service that people need. Louisiana Healthcare Group, I invite you to visit their new location. They just opened doors over in LeBeau. It's a family practice clinic with Dr. Elliot Myers, and let's see, I'll show you a picture of that right here. There we go. The St. Landry Family Healthcare Clinic now open in LeBeau. So give Dr. Elliot Myers a call over there if you're in that area and you need to, some family care, some general practitioner. LHC Group, LHCgroup.com.
Okay, we got a couple more pictures.
Yeah, let's go in. I think you guys went to, last week you were mentioning something about Mickey Guidry's grandson, Morgan. And let's see if I can pull up that picture.
Morgan
right
James.
Here. Yep, Keith James' son, principal over at Beauchene. And there we go. It's a kind of a blurry picture.
That's not it.
Here it is.
That's it.
Morgan got a deer.
Big buck.
Nice.
Nice big buck. You bet.
And last year around this same time, we showed you a picture of Morgan with a deer at the last trip.
Yep, that's right. So he's a good hunter.
Yeah,
nice looking
young boy,
and very polite and all. I spent the night there with him the night before this kill took place.
Yeah, he's a good kid. I've known Morgan for a while, my son, and he played baseball together. And so he's a good kid. Now, you also, while you were out in Marksville, y'all went to the camp up in Winfield, but you stopped in Marksville, and there was a restaurant there that you went to.
Yep.
I think it was a Stevens restaurant?
It's called Stevens Heads or Tails. And the name kind of confusing maybe. It started out as a boiling of seafood, and they realized with their knowledge of cooking that a full-fledged cafe was in line, and they took a trailer and really have it fixed up nice. It's a portable building. It's not a trailer. It's a portable building. And that's the couple, the Stevens family, Brian Stevens family, run operation. His mama is in the back. We didn't get mama's picture, but his mother helps out in the kitchen. And and while we were there, I mean, it was a constant coming in and out, and there's actually a little front porch you can sit out and enjoy the good weather we've been having. Not today, maybe, but overall it's been nice weather, and we wish Brian and his wife nothing but success.
Yeah.
And what about, were you able to get the brisket and basket
sure,
picture?
We can talk about that. I got them right here.
Mr. Wilbert Kennerson, he opened this place a few months back, and I'll tell you, if you haven't been there to give him a try, please do so. Good food, another family-operated business. Wilbert is a congenial man, retired from the fire department, and always had an envie to open his own restaurant, and between he and the family members, it's taken place, and it's delicious food. So if you get an opportunity, please go by and give them a try. I think you'll be satisfied that you went.
Can't go wrong with brisket.
No, and he has a full menu. And he's got the place decorated, Southern, Grambling room, LSU room.
Got a UL room, huh?
UL room. Right. The whole place is really done up nice inside. You're going to be pleasantly surprised when you walk in. And I was at Kelly's Diner yesterday having a hamburger. And when I walked out, who did I see but Jeff Reed on the left and his sidekick there, Mr. Marion Horman. I think Mr. Marion is, 96, if I'm not mistaken, and still drives. So,
wow.
And of course, he lost his wife a few months ago, Miss Lois. Right. Miss Lois, my cousin. She was a Dupre. And let's see, we
got some more we're going to pull up right here.
Yeah,
now.
Got a couple more.
Got your nephew here?
Yeah, they're out hunting ducks. And that's down by around Gaydon, if I'm not mistaken. I've never been to the camp, but I hear Cody and Reggie talking about it. That's Reggie on the left. And it's
ducks. It's probably in Gaydon.
This is a deer that was killed on Miss Marilyn's hunting club.
Okay.
That is the front yard of Vicky's lake. The lake is Vicky's front yard.
Nice.
And
back to the duck camp.
Duck camp right there.
Back to that. You want to say some more about that one?
Well, no.
Okay.
That's
back to the duck camp there.
Right.
Got a nice little mess of ducks down there.
They do well. They do well.
All right, and that takes care of the duck
They get their
camp.
limit.
Okay, good deal. And let's see where else your travels took you this week, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, you always got some words of advice for Kelly, so let's show Kelly.
Yeah,
you always have some ideas on what you can
That
make,
was at that
Kelly.
little restaurant that I was talking about
yeah?
a while ago, Stevens in Marksville. That was on the wall, and just easy to make, Kelly, and it would be interesting.
That's right.
Christian cross.
And keep giving Kelly some good ideas.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Move fast. Well, you got okay. You said you wanted to talk a little sports. Now, I'm not the best partner for that. But,
No.
Go ahead and shoot.
Well, all of last week, for about 8 days, it was up in the air whether Les Miles would be, his contract would be bought out or not. And it had gotten to the point where quite a number of the people that's supposedly on the no, they knew that he had been fired. He was going to be fired after the game. Well, it was going to be even maybe before the game. Then it got to it was going to be after the game. Well, his team right here, he's being carried off the field after they defeated Texas A&M. And it was supposed to be happening right here, but instead, if you notice out there, the grandstands are still full of people. Nobody had left after the game like they always usually scatter. And shortly thereafter, he was called by the athletic director, Mr. Oliveira.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not sure how you pronounce it because I never did try to pronounce his name before. But anyhow, he's the athletic director, the man in charge, so to speak. And he was given another year on his contract. Well, he has a contract, multiple-year contract. If they would have fired him Saturday night, they would have owed him a little over $15 million.
Yeah, that part I knew about. They had to pay him the remainder of his contract.
Remainder of his contract. And I think overall it's going to work out good because he's not a guy that's going to take revenge or does not appear to be that type of makeup.
I've met him on several occasions. He's a nice guy.
I
met his predecessor,
night.
Nick Saban, before, and he wasn't a nice guy. This guy was a nice guy.
Yeah, two different personalities.
Yep.
And both successful. And so I think he spoke about trying to improve on his selection of quarterback. Looks like that's the area that he has. He takes these youngsters and he gets so close to them that I don't think he wants to hurt them if they're not really cutting the mustard. And he takes the brunt of the hit. I'm just looking from the outside, and I'm not an authority like a lot of my friends. They think they're authorities, and it's fun. They have fun doing that. But anyhow.
Well, I sure won't say I'm an authority, that's for sure. Well, not when it comes to football.
And of course, they're going to go to a bowl game. I'm not sure which bowl game. UL, it doesn't appear, if UL would win Saturday night, they play in Troy. And if they would win that, there's an outside chance that they may get invited to some, smaller bowl. But at least it would be a bowl game that the kids could remember the rest of their lives. And the man you're looking at right here is...
They're not looking at him yet. I'm trying to pull him up.
Mr. Hawthorne. And he is the voice of the LSU Tigers. He had a voice that just, I know when they were at home, Vicky would turn the voice down on the TV and play a radio by the side.
Everybody knows Jim Hawthorne.
Yep.
Every year we host a party for him, and he's a real nice guy. Real nice guy, and I think this is his final season.
That's his final season. He had some health issues, but doesn't seem to be affecting him here. But just, I guess, wanted to retire and probably write a book. Everybody writes a book. Bobby Dupre's got
a lot of nice stories.
When I finish my term, January, around the middle of January of 2016,
start writing your book.
I guess I'll have to start pulling out all those. I've got somewheres. I don't think I threw any of it away. I have all the materials here. I've got some in one place and some in another place and some in my attic. And anyhow, we could find it. But I don't know that I'm going to put myself through that either, because that's
a lot of work.
It'd be time consuming, but you can work it on your own. And this is a cousin that I never got to meet, to my knowledge, before. But he's Alcide, a French name there, and they call him Ali Dupre, from Prairie Ronde, graduated from Lawtell High. And I got all this information from his sister, so it's directly from the family. Ali lives in Lake Charles. Apparently, he was a good softball player because he was inducted into the Amateur Softball Hall of Fame. And the event was held in Hammond recently. And his sister, May DeVille, Ray DeVille, the musician, he plays, forgot what instrument. Is it the drums? I think it's the drums. We'll say it's the drums. But anyhow, I got to talk to May, and she told me that he retired, and his wife was a school teacher, and he's retired, so she's retired. So they have a lot of free time, and she said it was a wonderful event, and glad that they had gone to participate with him.
Well, good. Well, you know, we need to take another quick break. When we come back, we've got a couple of more articles right here that you wanted to talk about. So give us 1 minute, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick, Mr. Matt LeBlanc. And we have about 13 minutes left, and we got a few little subject matters that we would like to show. And
but before we get into those, let's tell them about Dixie Storage. Dixie Storage, located in Opelousas, Washington, Port Barre, over 1 million square feet of storage. Anything you want to store, it doesn't matter. After Christmas, you might have a whole lot of stuff you need to store. Call Dixie Storage. They can help you out. Large, small, medium size, it doesn't matter. Climate controlled, you need rail spur access, you get it at Dixie Storage. A lot of concrete for Dixie Storage.
Mr. Randolph McCormick,
right.
That was the first thing he did when he bought a piece of property. He had to pour some concrete somewhere on that piece of property. And that was his namesake, concrete.
Visit them online at dixiestorage.com. Also, I want to tell you, on the north end of Opelousas, if you're heading out, you know, like y'all heading to the camp or whatever up in Winfield, you got to pass in front of Quarters Casino and Travel Plaza. Quarters Casino and Travel Plaza, of course, you can take.
My Jimmy Dooley automatically turns right when you get to that exit 23.
Anytime I pass that way, I stop.
Stop in, and friendly staff. I tell you what.
Good Chevron fuel. You can get Subway while you're there. Hunt Brothers Pizza. While you're there, of course, try your luck at all of the video poker machines inside. I hear people do very well there. And try authentic Mexican restaurant El Pico de Gallo. Pretty incredible food from what I've heard.
It is good.
Yep.
Dylan told me that. Okay, mustn't forget on 3 Mile Lake, we having for the first year, we call it the first annual, we're going to have a decoration of the camps, and we're going to go around in pontoon boats or whatever type of boat, and we'll look at them, and then we're going to have someone that'll judge the camps, and we'll have a first, second, and third place. Nothing big, but something to give you some recognition of the efforts that you put towards decorating your place, and make it feel just a little bit special. And we've got a lot of interest at 3 Mile Lake. Things are really looking up, I guess you could say would be the proper word. The people are working together to better the place, and things are really, really good out there.
Very good, very good. We got a couple of more articles you wanted to talk about right here. I know we mentioned this a little bit last week, but I guess
Teen goes
again.
beyond generosity with food donation. This is a young, what, a 14-year-old Cortland Reed is his name, and he had set a goal of this year of picking up about 2,000 pounds of food, and he ended up with 2,629 pounds of food. So for next year, he's already set his goals at 3,500 pounds.
Good for him.
And what a 14-year-old that came up with this idea. So this should tell all of us out there, us older ones, when the kids can do that, just think if you put your mind to doing something. Right. Look what we do with the breakfast. Yeah. I had no idea when God gave me that plan one day, and I said, well, you know, it's just like he had talked to me. I'll give it a try, and it's been a success. And Cortland, we're proud of you, young man. Keep up the work, and the picture you're going to be showing right now, you say you like boxing, but you like Klitschko.
I like to watch a Klitschko fight because I know it usually ends in a knockout and it's a pretty dominating performance. I just don't like the way Klitschko looks.
His style is not overly appealing.
No finesse. No.
Well, it's a lot of finesse, but
it's just ugly.
He's taller and bigger.
Yeah.
Well, he met his match this past Saturday night. He didn't get knocked out, but he lost a unanimous decision.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
I haven't seen the
Fury.
fight. I do want to see it.
Tyson Fury, and he had kind of made fun of Tyson a little bit,
Yeah?
and I guess Tyson had kind of, you know, said a few things because that's kind of building
that's
up
part of the shtick.
Yeah, that's correct. That build up that viewing on the TV. You watch it at your home, at your house. Now you don't have to go to Germany where this bout took place. You get in your own home. So
anyhow, it went the distance then.
Went the distance, right? Went the distance, and I'm sure it's going to be a rematch. It's part of the contract, and. Klitschko had a brother that was also, they were both champions at the same time, but there's about 3 big championship belts out there, titles that can be won. And the mama had asked them not to fight each other. That was, I remember that very well from the beginning.
Well, that would have been a fight, though.
Yeah.
That would have been a fight. Vitaly versus Vladimir. I'd have paid to see that one.
You'd have paid?
Oh, yeah.
You think they'd have?
Nah, that's hard, though, to see how they would go at each other. I mean, I don't know. Typical brothers, though, sometimes they get in a knockdown, drag out.
Well, yeah, I was lucky. My brothers were too old for me. They would have been charged with child molestation. How about that, boy? Boy, you digging some old big words there. And what about Judge John Saunders? Can you bring up that picture? Judge Saunders, of course, is in a wheelchair. Got into an accident, and but you'd never know it. I've known him. I've only known him since he was. I don't know how you describe a man that is in a wheelchair. He's crippled, but he doesn't know he's crippled. You know what I mean? He doesn't act like he's crippled. He never let it. He's just a fun guy to be around, and very intelligent on the other hand, because he serves on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals in Lake Charles. Yeah. And that's quite a feat for anybody. And he had to go out there in multiple parishes to run and win that. And of course, the picture here, he and his wife Susan.
From 1985.
1985.
October 31st. They got married on Halloween.
Yep.
That's Andrew's birthday.
Andrew's birthday.
And my wife's birthday. I better say that too.
Yeah, don't forget. Anyhow, Judge and Susan, hope you have many, many more successful, healthy years. And thanks for being my friend, John. And here's a picture that was taken recently, a few months ago, about 3 months ago, when the Louisiana High School Boxing Hall of Fame museum was dedicated in Plaquemine, Louisiana. And the picture there is on the left is yours truly, Bobby Dupre, and Bobby Swallow next to me, Bobby Freeman. Now wait a while, now,
Bobbies?
3 Bobbies, and then Harold. Oh shoots,
Might have to ask.
Hebert. From Milton, I think it is. And then all the way on the right is Larry Oye, and of course he's from Big Mamou, Louisiana. And this picture here was, we were all at the dedication, and it was a lot of others too,
Sure,
there was an article written up. This article that you're looking at right here was in the Bon Nouvelle, and I brag on the Bon Nouvelle. Bobby Dardo is the editor in charge, and does a tremendous job.
Really
of it's amazing what a local, and I want to put in a plug. I had a picture. I thought I had a picture of it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't do it.
No.
Didn't do it. Okay. It's Bon Nouvelle. You can just call them up in Ville Platte. Just ask for Bon Nouvelle, and it's 363 number. But it's $20 a year, and you get a newspaper, 12 of them, and I think you get some wagon tracks.
Wagon trails, I think, or wagon tracks. Might be wagon tracks.
Wagon tracks. There's about 4 editions of that particular edition that comes out. So you really get your money's worth. And even if I'm not from there, but I know a lot of people there, and I enjoy reading. I read every page of it. Every time they send me one, Bobby, I want you to know. And then he's got several locals that write articles on a regular basis, so you can keep up with that particular interest in what they, like the most and what they write comfortably about.
Right. Right. It is a great little publication.
Yep.
It really is.
They do a good job.
All right. Well, we got through all your pictures.
Got the pictures, and one more little sports
And just a
thing.
reminder, folks, you can go on to kdcg.com, or I'm sorry, you can go to Facebook and look up KDCG, and if you see anybody you know in those pictures on the show and you want to find them online and download them, just go to Facebook. You'll see the Bobby Dupre pictures are posted there on a weekly basis. Look in the photo albums and download any of the pictures that he showed you on the show today.
How about that, huh? For a boy from Plaisance, we got electricity out there, they tell me. Didn't have any when I left when I was 8 years old, but then a lot of things they didn't have that we have today. Johnny Manziel. He was a Texas A&M star and went into the pros with a big contract and big expectations of him. And he just can't quite get to settle down and be a professional, not just a good quarterback, but you have to be professional about your activities on and off the field. And he had just been named the #1 starting quarterback, and they had a week off. And during that week off, he went to Austin. I imagine that might be where he's from or right in that area. And he was on Facebook. I say Facebook. I guess that's what I'm going to say, for lack of knowing exactly which one it was. One of the social media. Let's put it that way. That's better, Bob.
Pretty safe to say Facebook.
And he's shown with a bottle of champagne, and he's toasting it, and he's kind of singing some of those raunchy songs that are out there. And anyhow, the coach has brought him back down to earth, and he's the number. They played last night, and he was the #3 quarterback, so he didn't get to play, unless it was right at the end. I finally cut it off and tried to get me some rest to be rested up for my long day today. But a fun day,
Absolutely.
Anytime you're with these kids, and you have to sit back a little bit and realize that we are just with them for a couple of hours, and the parents and the guardians, I always like to bring the guardians in, with these youngsters 24/7.
Right.
They have to, somebody has to be with them. But let's talk a little bit about politics.
Well, I don't want you to talk too much about politics. You got about 30 seconds left.
Don't have any time for politics.
Normal thing, I'll let you go, but you said politics. I get you started. So.
Yep, that get me started. But anyhow, I saw where the governor-elect has a transition team in place, and if you're interested in working for the state government, there's a what you call it when you go to it?
Internship?
No. On the computer, what you use?
Oh, resume, application.
Application, but there's a term, a little bit more on that. But anyhow, y'all know what I'm talking about. He's coming in, and that's going to be nice because you won't have to set up an application time.
Right.
Lord, your goodness is enough to make me thankful every day. Teach me to live with a thankful heart and remind me to regularly thank you for your goodness and steadfast love. It is only with gratitude that life becomes rich. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for telling a friend, and thank you